everything I recommend you from now on is going to just be, I'm going to know 100% what it is. There's going to be no weirdness. There's going to be no malicious edge to it. We're just going to roll forward as just two people, Wooly, introducing each other to new experiences, one of whom knows exactly what's going on. And that's for damn sure.
I look forward to the future. We don't like looking back, after all.
No.
Looking back is, hey, God told Lot's wife, hey, don't do that. And she was like, what? Pillar assault.
Pillar assault. I don't want to be a pillar assault.
You don't want to be a pillar assault. So then I agree with you. We got no time to look back. Forward.
Always forward. Do you
Forward
want to talk
always.
about this cartoon show from 1999?
Edd and Eddy.
Wooly,
why did you recommend me Edd and Eddy?
I have to go with the classic question. I have to, like, more so than anything. Why?
Everyone was.
What
I
happened?
saw so many people get so confused by this. It's not that complicated. It's really simple. I remember the era of Edd and Eddy on TV, and I remember there were other shows at the time, and there's a lot of shows that were kind of wacky and fun and silly, and they kind of came and went, and people never talked about them again. Santo Bogito. Or there were shows that hit that were like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that was weird. Real Monsters. You got a vague recollection of it or so.
Real Monsters. I'd put that a little bit. I'd say your cat dog is a kind of
sure.
Yeah. Real Monsters did something. Yeah.
But then there was ones, and there were ones, and again, you love these cartoons. These are fun to watch as a kid. But it just was like, this is out of nowhere coming back around, and I'm just starting to see it online get posted in meme forum, and just things are showing up and people are talking about it a bit more, and it was just like, why is that? Why no Real Monsters memes? Why no Santo Bogito memes? Right? What specifically about Edd and Eddy made it come back? Because it was just again kind of out of nowhere, and I have some theories about it. I was a bit curious, but I thought that you could do some digging on that. But also, realistically, this is a great excuse to just talk about Edd and Eddy and the fun cartoon that it was as well.
So I never watched Edd and Eddy back in the day.
Great. Even better as a fresh recommend.
I ever watched a single episode.
There you go.
And I tried to think about why didn't I watch it? Because it was on television. It played a lot. Mm-hmm. But I never checked it out. And I think there's two reasons for that. Number one, I found the look of the show... Three reasons. I found the look of the show kind of off-putting. This is a kind of ugly, big asterisks show.
Yes.
Number two, I did not like Eddy.
Eddy, specifically.
I have a mistrust of people who wear polo shirts. I think polo shirts are accursed garments. I will never wear one. I've never worn one. I will never wear one. I think they're disgusting. And number three, I was hitting the age where I had discovered CNX, which would later become Toonami in Europe.
Okay.
I was watching motherfucking Outlaw Star
anime,
and you want to bring this Cartoon Network shit to me?
Yeah. I mean, what I will say is, as far as dislike of Eddy goes, like, yeah, Eddy he's a Disco Elysium libertarian. Right?
Yeah.
Cartoonish to the ends on it. But the show itself is an old school cartoon of the 10-minute, here's artwork for every episode up front, Warner Brothers, Ren and Stimpy, like all these types of cartoons. It is a cartoon. Animators are paying homage to the things they grew up with this style of extreme ugly characters with stretch and squash and everything historical about the medium being used.
Mm-hmm.
But you had access to it, but just didn't go its way.
Never watched. Like, I don't think I ever watched a single episode of it. And so I had to go into this like kind of very like just blank slate, just like, okay, first thing I need to do is figure out like what has this show going for it, because there's two parts to your kind of problem you presented me here with, Wooly.
Mm-hmm.
Number one was I had to understand this show, and number two, I had to figure out why this show is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe even coming back isn't the right word. Maybe refusing to die is a word. Because it's still kind of around. And I have encountered that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always just been like, really? Like, that show? So, Edd, Edd and Eddy is a Cartoon Network show directed by Danny Antonucci. And he did some TV shows before Edd and Eddy that were very, like, violent, very, I'm going to say, Ren and Stimpy adjacent. And, like, real, like, characters cutting off their own arms and just, like, adult animation kind of stuff. And you can definitely feel that bleeding through in Edd, Edd and Eddy. There's, like, some I was surprised how adult some of the jokes were. Like, there's a bit where the Edd, Edd and Eddy hide under Eddie's bed, and there's a bunch of magazines with names like Jiggle Jiggle, and a bunch of balled up tissues under there.
Right.
And so, you know, I was watching it, and so you have Ed, which is with one D, and you have Ed with two D's, or as he's known, double D. And then you have Eddie, who is the previously mentioned libertarian kind of used car salesman of the group. And so Ed, single D, is this kind of affable moron character where he is so stupid he is barely registering as human in a lot of these scenes. He is more this like kind of force of nature, very like, oh, I didn't know this kind of, like, you know, that character. Wacko, yeah. Ed, double D, is the smart one. He is the, like, you know, inventor. He's very learned. He's very, you know, intelligent. And then Eddie is the kind of sort of leader of the group. His schemes, his desire to get rich are kind of like driving a lot of the plot. And so from that, you have these three characters, and it all, or most of it, takes place in the cul-de-sac of Peach Creek. And the cul-de-sac is this area occupied by, depending on how you want to count it, 9 other characters, 9 other kids. And there's a little bit of variable because there's another character called Plank, who is just a plank of wood, and there was also a pig character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just about the kids getting into hijinks. In one episode, they, you know, the Eds sell turkey basters, and it becomes a Western. In another, Ed, single D, puts on a monster costume and starts to think he's a monster.
In my opinion, potentially the best episode of the show.
Interesting. Okay.
The day the Ed stood still. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm watching it, and I'm kind of like, yeah, this is basically what I expected. The characters feel pretty standard. Like, you basically have the 4 Ninja Turtles, except Raphael and Leonardo have been combined into one turtle, you know, and it's just, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, like, I'm not having a bad time with the show, but yeah, it kind of feels like what I expected of this show. And I'm watching, and as I do, there are some things about the show that start to stand out. And number one is like, yeah, my impressions of the characters was right, because like, you know, they're pretty like cookie cutter kind of archetypes, but you start to like notice something about those things about them. Like, say Ed is like the, you know, the dumb one, but he is also like, he's kind of got the soul of a poet, and so he will be saying his dumb ramblings, and then all of a sudden the way he puts things will be very poetic for a moment, and then he'll kind of go back to being dumb. As well as that, he kind of has this like cosmic affection for the universe around him. Like, he is constantly overjoyed with the world he finds himself in. Yeah. And it's like, okay, like, there's more going on here than this is a dum-dum. Like, there's a charm to this character.
I think the funnest thing about Ed in particular is the parts where, as the insane, wacky, dumb character, he has what is basically Warhammer orc style magical abilities.
Yes, he's kind of magical. Like, and he can kind of just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, which apparently are not just limited to orcs in Warhammer. Other people who believe in things can make things happen, by the way. But his ability to go into his own universe, his Inland Empire stat is so high that when he believes that he's playing a monster and he dresses up as one, he actually becomes a kaiju level threat to the cul-de-sac that everyone has to worry about, because he's so in the zone.
Then you have Double D, the smart one. And what you start to realize very quickly about Double D is like sensitive and nice, but he's kind of the conscience of the group as well. Like, he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He doesn't want to, like, you know, upset anyone. He's very much about like keeping the peace and doing the right thing, and that often brings him into conflict with Eddie, whose schemes are what are like propelling the cast forward. But like, Double D to me ended up being this real standout of the show, where by the end of it, like, he's like sensitive and introverted, but still presented as like this really fun and interesting like character, and just not really like another character I think I've encountered in a kids show. And as I would learn, and we will get to this, there's a massive fandom around Double D from a couple of different directions. He tends to be the favorite among people, and specifically girls. So when Michelle asked me like what you had recommended me, I was like, oh, Edd and Eddy, and her eyes light up and she's like, I love Edd and Eddy. And like, this is my wife of 20 years. We have never had a conversation. And I'm like, what?
That's great. That's great.
And she's like, no, Edd and Eddy's great. And then she's like, Double D, he's like the best. And I'm like, the smart one? And it's like, okay, there's more going on here.
Double D is my favorite. Absolutely.
Double D is my favorite. He's brilliant.
He's neurotic, and he's got to label things to
and he gets
feel
really nervous around the girls he likes. He's so good.
And then, he gets strung along to the point where he won't stand up for himself even, but he's still going to give into the temptation of the jawbreaker, you know, when the time comes.
And so like with Edd and Double D, then it's like they're both way more likable than I think they, in a way that like, it's very difficult to get a beat on them from one episode. And I think that's a consistent thing with this show. This show has stuff going on that you're not going to be able to get from any one episode. Then we get to Eddie. And I struggled to like Eddie in a bunch of instances because he's such a fucking asshole and he just wants to get rich. But then there's this one episode I'm watching, and it's him talking about like his scams. Like, that's his thing, his scams. He's always coming up with a new scam. And he says this line, and he's like, man, these scams always used to work when my brother was around. And you're like, huh.
There we go.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
And Eddie's brother, over the 6 seasons of this show, becomes this mythological figure. And like, there's even a point where like there's one episode where the entire premise of the episode is Eddie telling people that his brother is going to come back, and every single one of them has like this really severe reaction. Like
Kevin is
Nas,
freaked the fuck out.
Nas is like, oh no way, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
He's meant to be really strong, and then like Kevin, the tough kid, is like, you know, I don't know what to do, and it's like this brother's shadow looms so large over this cul-de-sac. But then like you're watching as well, and after like I don't know, like I don't know how many of these episodes I watched. It was a fair few. I'm like, I'm noticing there are no new characters in this show. And that's because for the entire like 6 seasons. Now I have not watched every episode, so apologies if I do get anything wrong here, but I did like look this up and I couldn't see any other characters. For the entire of the 6 seasons, they don't introduce a single new character.
It is a stage play, and on the stage are Edd, and Eddy, Kevin, Nas, Johnny, Sarah, Jimmy, Rolf, and the Canker sisters.
Yeah.
And that's it.
We'll get to the Canker sisters.
That's the whole cast.
That's everyone. There are no parents. Like, you occasionally get the suggestion of parents. You might see one silhouetted in the foreground. That's it. You will not. They do not factor into the story other than like a presence that's over there.
Eddie's mom is voiced by him in a moment where he's describing, I have to take a good picture, and if I take a good picture for picture day, I'll get to use my big brother's room, and I won't be the kid anymore. I'll get to move into big bro's room, and the voice of the mom is him telling it. So yeah, that's kind of how it is, you know, like the head off camera style.
But then as well, the only setting is this cul-de-sac. There's no school. There's no
There's school. They do go to school.
Okay, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But like for the first 4 seasons, like this all is like it takes place over one endless summer, and it's just like this moment of childhood between these 2 years that is just kind of going on forever. You might say, Wooly, Edd, and Eddy has a liminal quality.
That perhaps people might want to return to years later when life has set in. Interesting theory. Go on.
And so as I was watching this, and again, this is coming from someone who has no nostalgia in like the traditional sense for Edd and Eddy, it was like, it was hitting something. Like, it felt really nice to watch this show. And another part of it is like, it's a fucking when your brain adapts to the visual language of this show, it is a fucking beautiful show. Like, this show has some of the most inventive and insane key poses I have ever seen. When a character says a line of dialogue, they will bounce between like 5 or 6 of the craziest poses you've ever seen. And like when you compare that to say like Family Guy style, like just, you know.
Yep,
and
exactly.
You see, like, I watched an interview with Danny Antonucci, the creator, and towards the end of the interview, he's like, they're like, do you have anything you want to say to the animation industry? And he's like in a bar and he's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, yeah, fuck Flash animation. Sorry, internet animators, not real fucking animation. And you know what? Fuck Pixar. Fuck John Lasseter. It's like,
damn.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy feels strongly. But watching the show, it's like, this is beautiful. like
It's
the
it's
amount
it's
of
an
creativity that is going into. There's a bit in season 6, episode 1, where Ed gets wrapped up
the
in
dance.
that might be my favorite episode.
It's
But
great. It's a great
gets
one.
Ed gets wrapped up in like like the window blind. And
Yes.
like, just look at the fucking. I don't know.
Yeah.
How you concoct that drawing in your mind.
Mm-hmm,
You know, it's fucking. It's so crazy.
It's a cartoonist's cartoon, and there's even bits like jokes online where it's like, "Don't pause at Ed and Eddy," you know. But I mean. But literally do pause it because the keyframing is insane. And they run bits with like moments of like with the Canker sisters, for example, where like you can see an eyeball for 1 second, you know, peeking out, but like there's actually a third eye, you know, as a goof, or like an eye patch underneath Mary's eye, and like tough bang, and like they really do all the most extreme cartooning squashes and stretches and tricks that are things that animators love to do to make things come to life in a fun way. And you really get to embrace that when you are down with your characters being ugly.
Yes.
When you are
big
super
time.
on board for characters being off model and silly, that's what it's the opposite of. Remember when we were talking about like the sterile Uma Musume, they must be pristine on model horse girl characters that never look ugly from any angle, and how boring and stale that is, versus being willing to have them be goofy. That's it. Like I love that you embrace ugly characters as your thing, because you can make their eyes and legs and limbs shoot out in all directions, you know.
And like, you know, that's the other side of it as well. Like Ed and Eddy are a lot of fun. The supporting cast as well, I just think is super strong. I like, there's just some of these characters, there's such a charm to them, like Nas, the blonde girl, like
Unattainable
she's
girl
just,
of the cul-de-sac.
she's
Right.
just this like surfer dude, and she's really fucking chill. I love the Canker sisters.
Yep.
Every scene they were in, I fucking love them so much.
Nas is the girl on your block that was just too cute that you never had a shot with. You know? And the Cankers,
but then sometimes they kind of suggest that maybe she likes Double D a little bit, and it's like, and he like freaks out whenever it's good.
got that dance. He got that dance.
Get that dance.
And the Cankers are this great, like, when you have to come up with like an antagonistic force, right? What an original way to go with it, because it easily could have been Kevin just beating them up and calling them dorks, being the rich kid.
But instead,
you know?
Kevin is kind of like, he's kind of the law a little bit. Like, he's the hammer that gets brought down on Ed and Eddy when they stray too far.
Yeah, and he's one of them in the sense that he's another kid on the block. You know, he's got his bike, and his dad owns the Jawbreaker company or whatever. But it's like, he's not played as like the Nelson exclusively. And
no,
just,
I was about to say
know?
that exact thing. He's not Nelson. Like, he's okay. He can be cool. You know?
But instead, you have the Canker sisters as the antagonistic force. That's also like, but it's like love and obsession, and they're just these crazy hick sisters in the trailer park that are like, they're love them, but they're up to no good, and they're a chaotic force.
Way worse than Ed and Eddy.
And you can't just pin it that simple, you know?
So when I was like doing my like research trying to figure out like what is Ed and Eddy online, I found that picture. I found that picture, the really famous one of Chapel Rowan, Sabrina Carpenter, and Billie Eilish from, I can't remember what awards it was, and someone just captioned it, "Aren't these the bitches that are always trying to fuck Ed and Eddy?" And like, if you look at it, it's insane.
Oh God. Oh fuck. Lee, Marie, and May.
I mean, look,
yeah,
dude. If I had watched this when I was a kid, I definitely would have had a crush on Marie. I would. Have been
who
like,
wouldn't? Of course,
I've,
of course.
like,
She's
I've
the
seen
alt
some-
one.
Yeah, like I've seen some like if she was an adult fan art, and it's like, yeah, people, this is not surprising at all.
Yeah, that's freebie, you know. But she's also just a nightmare of a human being.
Oh, she is. But I love how awful they make her. Because like, how often do girls in shows get to be this gross?
Never get to be this gross and like and a problem. You know, like I'm thinking, like you had like what's her name in Hey Arnold, right? Helga, right? Who was like, yeah, she was clearly a problem, and she liked him as well. And but like this is a thing where like when the Canker sisters get mad, the whole cul-de-sac is like on hurricane alert. Because they're gonna destroy the city.
So this is what I love. There's power scaling in Edd and Eddy. And it's like the boys are kind of near the bottom. Like even Sarah, like Ed's little sister who's in love with Jimmy, like she can cause trouble for them. But then Kevin is above her. But then the Canker sisters, they're like the final boss of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, when they have a pirate episode adventure, like, and they're on the high seas or whatever, like the Cankers just are like, well, we're gonna go find them, and then they just get a pirate ship together and just like they have the reality bending powers of Ed, but like with all the chaotic energy that like none of the cul-de-sac kids have, you know? Yep.
No, they're a lot.
It's fun. It's fun.
So I started doing some research online because I think when I got this challenge first, I felt like there was a specific thing you wanted me to find. So I went down a couple of different rabbit holes here, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I did figure it out. But, you know, this was an extremely popular Cartoon Network show that, like, at its prime was going out to 31 million households. So, like, you cannot minimize like the cultural impact that's going to have. And so it's going to result in a lot of the kind of like conspiracy theories or fandom stuff that happens with stuff like this. So like, you know, one very popular theory, online theory surrounding Edd and Eddy is that it takes place in purgatory.
Sure. Right.
And a part
straight off
of
of
that
4chan.
Totally. And like when we talk about like the liminal quality of the cul-de-sac, it kind of you know, you can kind of see it. You talk about like the lack of parents. A big, like what a lot of people said was like a silver bullet, as in like, oh, this proves it. The color of the different characters' tongues. The characters have blue tongues because they're dead. And then like there's this whole other side of it where Double D wears his hat all the time because he got brain cancer. The Canker sisters were all murdered by a serial killer. Really fun theory. Absolute fucking bollocks. But like fun, you know?
Sure.
Like
I mean, the most they give you is like that season finale where they're all old and Eddie's having a moment of thinking back, like, wait, was this whole adventure just me remembering my childhood and we were old people the whole time? You know, is one of the episode like season finales of the fourth season or so. But as far as conspiracy theories go, yeah.
Look, it's so first of all, Eddy doesn't have a blue tongue. He has a green tongue. Second of all, the adults are in the show. They're just silhouetted and they're not obvious and all that kind of stuff. But like, look, who cares? It's a fun theory. Then I kind of started to be like, okay, I want to get a beat for like, what is the general consensus on Edd and Eddy in terms of its quality as a show from season 1 to 6? And the general idea is that season 1 and 2 are... Season 1 is very well regarded in terms of like its writing and stuff, but it's generally considered that seasons 2 to 3 are kind of the sweet spot in terms of the characters really come into their own and are the animation takes a huge like leap in quality in those seasons. I could see that. It is a beautiful show. And then season 4 is very well regarded as well, but maybe it's the point where a little bit of Flanderization starts to creep in. And I could kind of see that. I felt in some of the later episodes, characters like Nas, like, I really like Nas in the early seasons because she's so fucking chill. And I think in the later seasons, she starts to take on the qualities a bit more of the girl, you know, who kind of like falls in love with Kevin and stuff a bit more. And it's kind of like, I don't know. But like, that said, like, I have not watched enough of the show to really make that statement confidently.
I remember when I was watching Adventure Time, and I remember when the seasons went from mini episodes to double length, you know? And I think that kind of some of that was like, there's a bit of a thing where here some of those episodes became the double length ones, you know, once the show, I guess, got bigger and such. And it doesn't always work for the format. You know, the 10-minute adventures, I think, are best. But every now and then I do feel like sometimes when a show gets popular and it blows up in that way and you want to make more of it, that's something that's going to happen, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And then season 5 is a really divisive season, because season 5 they actually move it out of the cul-de-sac and into the high school, and shockingly they don't introduce any new characters.
Yeah,
But like, I can understand it maybe from like the writer's point of view. It's like, oh, look, we can't keep thinking up plots for the kids go outside, and you know, it's like maybe so. And there's definitely like people who say as soon as it hits the school, it's kind of ruined. I watched a couple of episodes from the schools ones, and like, I didn't feel it was like a dramatic drop in quality or anything. Like, you do lose that kind of liminal quality that I love, but in general, I thought there was still some good episodes, and like the school dance episode might be my favorite episode. I loved that episode.
It was great. It was really good. I think that it's like with any show where, looking back on it now that it's all wrapped up, you're like, yeah, it was that thing that happened towards the end. In the moment, I'm sure there would be a more of a like, oh, why are they changing this? Why is it getting, you know, weird here? And oftentimes things like that might signal like where a downturn is happening, right? Something a bit current, I suppose, is when JD leaves Scrubs, you know, and then when other when shows go through a moment of like, oh, a character leaves or the setting changes, or now we're gonna go.
Like, can I just
here.
say that I love that you said when JD leaves Scrubs, and that happened maybe 16 years ago.
Yeah.
You catch that new Scrubs season?
No, but I caught you talking about it.
Ha ha! You watch my content. That's so sad.
I didn't know there was a new season of Scrubs, so I was genuinely curious about what the fuck you were talking about. So I was like, wait, it was a straight up like, wait, what is happening? And I learned.
So just for the viewer watching at home, what actually happened is that Wooly saw he has notifications turned on his phone for my channels, he sees it and he goes,
how do I do the standing desk
John posted a new video. Oh boy.
My camera doesn't lift up, so I can't do the same bit. It doesn't
work. What's the t-shirt, Wooly?
It's just cool.
It is cool.
It's nothing. It's just cool.
Agreed. So yeah, another really popular theory online, and this was interesting. Double D is a girl. There was a lot of this, and basically the idea is that
haven't seen that
Double D wears the hat because she has long hair underneath, and her name Double D, all this kind of stuff. Okay.
And later bits as well. Yeah,
and like there's a lot. There's a lot of bits in the show you could kind of look at and be like, okay, sure. I don't think it was something intended by the creators, but at the same time, you can see people kind of co-opting the character in like some fun ways. Like a lot of trans girls seem to relate to Double D, like very, very popular character with that demographic. And
Okay.
one of the lead storyboard artists even commented on it once, where he was asked about it, and he was like, "Hey, listen, if someone wants to interpret this character in a way that feels good, God bless." And that's generally my attitude with that stuff as well. It's like, okay, cool, sure, you know. But
but there was just something to like and I sorry, I know you're doing it, but there was something to like after a long time. I feel like, you know, suddenly seeing a picture of Double D with his facts book, and it's like facts, and then point to insert meme format here, almost like Lisa pointing at the projector, right?
yeah,
You know, that's one of the big, that I'd say that's the most commonly used meme I've seen get spread around in terms of like what I'm talking about when I say like seeing this show coming back, right?
sure. I did encounter that one as well.
Ed swallowing the mattress whole, like like going like a snake, you know.
There's a lot of great bits with Ed swallowing stuff,
swallowing
and then like
things.
Kirbying, like Kirby, full mouth mode.
Yes, 100%.
Those things.
100%. Ed with the octopus on his head with the tentacles, and it just do you fear death, Jack Sparrow? You know? Yeah, and you know, just these bits where you're like man, this shit's like, yeah, it hits something, and again, I have some theories, but I you know, we can go at your pace.
I would be, so before I enter my closing argument here,
yeah,
I'd be curious to what your theories are.
So I think you're kind of building to it, right? Because I know that the most similar experience I've had with a show like this, where like I had fond memories and it was a cool thing, and then it went and that was it, and then you started seeing it hit like in a way unexpected, was okay. So there's some stereotypes that we're gonna have to touch on here a little bit, right? One of them, you know, hey, guess what? Black weeaboos, we love Dragon Ball. That shit just goes fucking hard. We ride for it. It's just what it is, right? Say less. There's something in particular about SpongeBob and how SpongeBob SquarePants came back aggressively in meme format on the internet, and I found that one of the sources of that I remember was basically like Black Twitter and a lot of places online. Like, it turns out we fuck with SpongeBob heavy, you know? And I remember that was something where it was like, oh, really? Like, we all, yeah, okay. Like, this was like, yeah, everybody remembers, and that like all this shit kind of hits, and it was like entertaining at every age all the way through up till now, where you get it when you see Patrick Star or a Krabby Patty reference or Squidward, you know, any of those bits. And I think like SpongeBob and how you see it, SpongeBob online today, almost exclusively in meme format, whether it's, all right, I'm about to head out, you know, or floating up into the air while an old Kanye loop starts playing over it, and like all these other moments, and you know, like Buff SpongeBob versus, you know all of them, right? And these all were things that like it touched on something that, you know, it was like, okay, culturally we were all appreciative of this back then at the time, and we kind of came back and realized we're all into it. I think that with Edd and Eddy, a big part of why it is just beloved old memory is you're talking about like the childhood. You're thinking about people watching this Cartoon Network back in the day after school, what was going on in life at the time, and the kids hanging out on the cul-de-sac, etc., all being a fond, strong memory. But I think the big picture show has a huge part to play in why everyone fondly remembers this, because of how well it wrapped up and sent it on its way and packaged this childhood memory in a place that went off and was basically like, and I'll remember that as my happy times back when I was a kid. I think the movie, the big picture show, and what goes on there and how it relates to everything we're talking about is why Edd and Eddy came back.
So the big picture show starts with Edd and Eddy having pulled some awful, unscrupulous, unimaginable. So there's a bit where Ed Double D is like writing about it in his journal, and he's just like, it's so awful, terrible. And I kept thinking about Danganronpa 2.
Okay. The most
you know,
terrible, awful accident that's ever happened in the history of.
And you just see like the aftermath of whatever this scam was, and like Nas is like really fucked up. The guy, what's the foreign guy called?
Rolf.
Rolf has like bites out of him,
chunks of meat.
Like literally missing chunks of meat, and it's like everyone wants to fuck up Edd and Eddy, and so
Nas looks like Nas looks like Angelica's doll in Rugrats.
She looks like Weird
right?
Barbie.
Yeah, and like the scam. This was the darkest, most horrible scam that was so absolutely brutal that we can never know what happened. We can never know what the actual scam was.
So, and that was actually another big thing as well. People trying to piece together what the scam was. That was a big like sphere of like fandom.
But it didn't matter, because all that mattered was they went too far. Eddy went too far this time. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so they decide that the other children in the cul-de-sac are going to murder them, and so they need to seek out protection from Eddy's older brother,
the legend.
And so I'd say what ensues is an hour of hijinks.
Big boss. We must find Big Boss in Zanzibar land. He's the only one that can protect us.
In terms of Edd and Eddy, that is the character.
Yeah.
And so they go through like an hour of basically all the characters riding across like kind of different landscapes and like trying to figure out where this guy is. And so then you hit like the last, like it must be like the last 10 minutes of the movie, and he's still not in it yet. And they find his trailer, and the door opens up, and a 13th character walks into the show. Ed's older brother is actually in it. And like
it pans up to show a face, and it's like, oh shit, he's actually gonna be a character. Yeah.
And for me, like it was like, holy shit, like see, like they're actually doing it. They've introduced another
big
character.
Deal. Yeah.
I can't imagine watching 6 seasons of weekly television of Edd and Eddy and getting to that moment. That must have been fucking mind blowing.
Crazy. Yeah.
And he's an asshole. He sucks. He's just this burnout like carnival worker, and he immediately starts like, he seems okay for a minute, and then he immediately starts like bullying Ed and like beating up Ed and like and to the point
there were hints of him being an ass, and obviously Eddy being a liar and a scammer, exaggerating about him throughout the course of the show. So it's like that much has kind of been hinted at, but like the actual dynamic, you know, when given a second to be like, oh, there he is, he's gonna save us, he's gonna protect us, he's the tough guy, he's older, he can do it all, and it's like, you are a fucking bully and you've been abusing this kid, man.
So it was the bit for me where he hit Double D that I was like, like I was like, fuck this guy, you know. But then like this really lovely thing happens where all the children in the cul-de-sac like kind of gang up on him and are like, fuck this asshole, he sucks. And then after a while, like, you know, it resolves. They kind of beat
really
up
quickly, kind of insanely really quickly, actually.
I am shocked
too
this
quickly.
Dude wasn't the whole movie. Like I'm shocked that because I thought you could drag that out and have like some really great drama here, but I guess I don't think that's the show they're trying to make. And Eddie, the most like dislikable one of the three, he has this moment where he realizes his brother sucks. And it's like the one little bit of character growth.
I mean,
it hits. It hits.
It's yes. Yeah. And I would say too that like in the movie, earlier in it, because the whole thing is paced out in this way where again you think this is gonna happen way earlier, and you're hitting like the fucking single digits left on the time bar when the brother's showing up, right? But what you get is there's a moment where Double D like thinks that that Ed and Eddie die in like quicksand, and they're pranking him, and he gets genuinely mad and he stands up for himself, and it's like pretty much the first time ever that like he fully asserts and goes, nah, fuck this, I'm out, and like leaves, and that is, even though it was something that they worked through, and he kind of, and then Eddie cries and he was sad, and they kind of were like, hey, it's okay, they worked through it, but he stood up for himself, and that was an important moment of growth for him. Like it was something that his character needed, right? And as it might be a stretch, but it's like Ed does actually unhinge the door and think how to solve the problem, and that results in them knocking out the older brother, and he kind of solves it without like just kind of cartoon dumbing his way through it, but he comes up with a solution, right? I think it's less of a slam dunk than at the very least I would say like Double D kind of having his moment there. But with Eddie in particular, his moment is coming to face with everything, with the fact that his brother sucks, and then having to go in front of everybody, yeah, I lied about it all, I just wanted to sound cool, I'm sorry I did all that, and has to kind of accept his honest self in a persona-like way.
Wow.
There is
you're completely right.
Yeah. And I think that like even though it happens very, very quickly, there's a bit of a like, and now the kids from the cul-de-sac can accept them. There's a bit of a like, hey, you're one of us, we're actually down to ride with you, and this other guy who was really shitty to you, that we all thought like was gonna come in and beat us up and save you, we were so afraid of him, actually he's worse than what we were gonna do. And that's crazy. How hard and sad must that be, that he's just this horrible to you? Your life must have been really shit for this to be the case. So they step up for them, And there's a little moment of like, yeah, okay, like being yourself is a quality that's really good to learn as a kid. And it's nothing revolutionary here, but I think it's just a nice moment of growth that you have, where there's a punchline that is literally Double D going, and it only took 6 seasons, 130 episodes, and 4 specials, to get here or whatever. And then they kind of have that little cap off to a pleasant childhood memory.
Yeah, I would say like you're right. It's not an especially like complicated or even like super deep moment. I think like it's a relatively simple moment, but kind of perfectly executed. Kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, where sometimes just like simple shit executed well, it can hit so hard, and especially when like I was saying, I can't imagine like watching season 1, episode 1, and then growing up through your teenage years alongside this show, and then seeing that. Like that would have hit so hard. So here
and there are so many shows. There are so many shows that don't get to have an ending, much less a good one. There are so many that get canceled, that get cut off in the middle of trying to get interest to build up. So they do cliffhangers, and they do, things where they just didn't know whether they were coming back next season or not. But like, that was a cap off. That was it. That was perfect. Was it.
So, in terms of like why Edd and Eddy is kind of having this sort of resurgence, there's 2 answers. Number 1 is that Adult Swim started re-airing the show in 2023, and it's been steadily kind of building in popularity since then. It's gotten really big in like a lot of fandom spaces, and fandoms are kind of like, there's a lot of fan fiction, a lot of shit like that, a lot of things that people tend to do with this kind of show.
I guess that's the literal answer, I suppose. Yeah.
That is the literal answer. But I think the real answer and the important answer is that, like, I have this. I think when people try and talk about like the objective quality of art, to me, you can't really. I don't believe that objective analysis of art can really exist in terms of like a qualitative form, in terms of saying if something is good or bad. But the closest we have is
we
time.
say before listing this thing on a fucking list. Go on.
We both acknowledge how unbelievably ridiculous that list is. The closest thing we have is time. The closest thing is, hey, this show came out 20 years ago and people are still talking about it. Something about this show punched through all the noise, the infinity of other media, and people still give a shit.
People are still talking about the sound effects and how fucking good they are.
Yeah, and like that is like
the wild animal noises.
Look at Cowboy Bebop, look at classic Simpsons, look at Ava. The reason people still care is because the original was that fucking good. And in the case of Edd, and Eddy, like, it's simple, but this is some real ass art. This is about real emotions. This is about nostalgia. This is about how you felt on your block when it was summer and your entire world was the 10 kids who lived up and down from you. And it was about capturing that. And then somehow, in the last 10 minutes of its fucking movie, it's also about coming to terms with telling the lies about yourself that you've been perpetuating because you want other people to accept you. And once you get over those lies, people actually accept you. And that's fucking real. That's just real as shit. And so the reason that this had its resurgence, it's simple. It's because it's fucking great. That's it.
Congratulations. That's a fucking video essay.
Listen. When you summon the big dog.
Let's go. Oh man, it really is. It really is just that. I completely feel it. The only other thing I'd want to say there is like, when talking about just some of those favorite episodes, can I bring up like two others that are ones that I just really loved. I love the day the Ed stood still where he's becoming a monster, and playing
awesome.
as that.
So creative.
Right. Equally fun and creative is this one episode, 1 + 1 = Ed, where
is this where they figure out that they're in a cartoon?
And reality starts warping and they start grabbing the backgrounds and like playing with the cells. It's so fucking great, where they're like, oh, we need to understand things. The more we learn about the world, the smarter we get, the more money we can make. Let's learn. And the process of learning involves breaking down the fourth wall and learning about the fact that they're in a cartoon and acknowledging it and looking behind the background of the set. And just, they do it so many funny, interesting things with that like really work out, that are like, again, if I were a kid, seeing that, I don't remember seeing that episode in particular back in the day, but like seeing it here, I was just like, oh my God, that was great. That was really fun how they played with the medium. And then another one, they call him Mr. Ed, is an episode where one day Eddie decides, you know what? I'm going to be a businessman, and I believe that what we need to do is we got to start going up. It's all about up. And then he sets up a whole business where the whole point of the business is line goes up. And that's it. right? And they're like, what does it mean up? And it's like, up, we just gotta go up. And then Double D's like, I built an elevator, is that up? It's like, yep, up is good, up, everything's gotta keep going up. And obviously it doesn't take much to see what we're making fun of and the absurdity of the entire stock market and the idea of fake money and this whole system being absolutely nonsense, destined to crash horribly, But he's just like, nah, business is booming. We got to go up. It's all about up. What's going on? I don't know. Up, 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 up. And it's again, for this silly cartoon from a million years ago, I'm like, damn, let's go. That's prescient. Run that in 2026,
It's cool. It's cool watching that as a kid, being like, this episode won't have horrifying predictive qualities that will determine every part of my life.
Right?
But yeah, I guess like just closing
Dan
thoughts.
Olsen calling you out. Shit got line goes up came from Edd and Eddy first. No, that's silly. That's nonsense. Anyways.
Oh, look, we can ask him.
Yeah, we can.
Anyway, closing thoughts. Like, yeah, this show made me nostalgic for a show that I'd never really experienced in my youth.
Awesome.
It has such a strong impression that I got flashbacks to catching the last 2 minutes of an Edd and Eddy show while waiting for Dragon Ball to come on. It's and I'm so fucking glad I got to experience this, because I was never going to go back. I'm looking for Edd and Eddy wallpapers from a phone. This hit hard. And
nice.
Just to say as well, I fucking love Double D as a character. I think he's so great, and just that kind of, I think there's a gentleness in Double D that you don't really see portrayed in a lot of boy characters. I think there's always a fear that they're going to come across too weak or
too
whatever.
Feminine.
But yeah, and I think that he Double D is really effeminate, which is why you had so many people theorizing that it's a girl or whatever. But I think it's really cool.
Well, that's why you just have to change it into a girl so that they can be the proper protagonist for your Silent Hill. I mean, it's really easy. You just switch it up, and and you're done. Harry Mason in the Silent Hill movie being switched to.
I know.
Okay.
I'm working on a video, Wooly, because I need things. I need to release myself from certain feelings, and I've been diving deep on those movies, and I just had a moment of wait, how is Wooly playing? How did he?